Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I've been watching Sidetrack for a while. It's one of the more interesting YouTube channels. They seem to not sort of be going along with the Phantom Menace Midnight's Edge playbook so far as what's happening with Star Trek at Paramount, but at the same time they actually seem to support a lot of the things that they're saying. And they claim to have had a lot of sources in Paramount, although I think a lot of them have been fired now. But because Skydance is taking over and a lot of new people are coming in to sort of look at how everything's run and sort of get ready for the crossover to Skydance running it, there seem to be a lot of new leaks. And they did a video about how the current contracts between Paramount and Secret Hideout are sort of being ran. And it's very bad for Paramount. Paramount seems to have given away a lot of their power with Star Trek just to get someone to pay for the production earlier on when they were sort of really bad financially, and they sort of didn't get a good deal. So basically they pay Kurtzman to make the show, to make Star Trek, and he has the freedom to do whatever he wants, make whatever show he wants, and Paramount can't say anything. They can't tell him no, they can't tell him stop, nothing. The catch is he has to finance it himself, which means he either has to pay for it or find a backer, a financier. But as long as he does that, he can make anything he wants, and they can't do or say anything. They have to buy it back. They have to buy it off him to have it, but if they don't, they can sell it to Amazon or someone else. So if someone else is paying for it, he's really at no risk. If Paramount takes it, someone else takes it, doesn't matter. If no one takes it, then someone else paid for it. He got paid by Paramount to make it, even if no one ever does anything with it. So it's a great deal for him. He is a very smart businessman to have gotten himself in this position where this company that technically owns this IP and owns Star Trek is paying him to produce it and sell it back to them, basically. So they're paying for it twice and have no control, and all just so someone else pays for it. And it seems to me like a bit of a scam where I reckon he's going to his financiers, allegedly, supposedly, and saying, well, we'll do a 10-episode Star Trek show, $10 million an episode, so $100 million, but they're not spending $10 million an episode. You look at those episodes, they're not worth $10 million an episode. They're probably spending $2, $3, $4, maybe $5 million on them. And this is just my theory, my opinion. I don't have any facts. I'm not saying it's actually happening, but I think it is. And so they're probably spending $30, $40, $50 million on a season, but they're getting paid like $100 million from someone else and then selling it back to Paramount for a whole bunch of money. So they're making a lot of money out of this. They get paid just to make Star Trek and they don't really do anything. So that's a great deal for them. And also the way the contract is set out, they have this clause where if they cancel the show, they get penalties. So what happens is Secret Hideout will say spend millions and millions to set up the show, to build the sets, everything, and then they absorb that over, say, 5 years. If the show gets cancelled within 5 years, they're like out of pocket, so you have to pay us the difference of the money we've lost, because you didn't give us the full 5 seasons. So that's really good for them, obviously, and bad for anyone in business with them, because if they want out, they have to pay, say, $100 million the first year, and just goes down over time. That's why Discovery was cancelled after 5 years, because it didn't cost them any money to get out of it, and why Lower Decks was cancelled after 5 years, and why Strange New Worlds is getting 5 years. Now, Prodigy is different because it was done with Nickelodeon. It was a different contract, and the way they usually do cartoons is they'll basically pay for an episode order, and then they'll split that into seasons. And in this case, they did 2 half seasons of 10 episodes, 20 per year. They really should have just done 4 seasons and spread over 4 years. That's what a lot of other cartoon shows like She-Ra did. So they're in a fairly bad position where if they buy the show, they can't get out of it, can't get back out of it, unless they want to pay out. Now, I'm a bit confused with what happened to Netflix. Netflix wanted out, couldn't get out the first year. I think they got out in the 3rd year, whether they negotiated something or whether they just paid their way out because it cost less to get out than to stay in. I'm not sure, but Amazon took over Picard, and once you buy the show, you apparently have a bit of say in what they do. But before that, Kurtzman's just doing whatever he wants. And so far as Legacy goes, everyone wants Legacy. Paramount has asked for Legacy. He said no. Part of that is ego, because he's just cut that someone else came in under his nose, fixed Picard in season 3, and created a great show and created a great spin-off. And he doesn't want to do it because it's like saying someone can do Star Trek better than him, which they can. But I think he's holding on to it because Paramount's only option now is, they've got several options. They can either keep him in the contract, because what's going to happen is he's contracted till August 2025, and Skydance is going to take over running Paramount from June. So that means they've got about 2 months to negotiate a new contract. They can either just let the contract lapse, in which case any show that's produced now, they'll get the next year, and then they'll get another year until August 2026 to finish that show. So whatever shows he starts now gets at least 2 years, whether that's because they changed the contract when they extended it, because originally it was 25 million he got paid, then it was 100 and something million for the extension, and now he's up for another extension. And like I said, they can either let it run out and just pay out the shows that are in production, and then they're free and they can produce their own Star Trek shows, and they can bring anyone in to create 1 or 2 shows and then have them go. Or they can extend the contract and be stuck in the same trap they're in. But there's sort of a third sort of way where they can do it, because here's a bargaining chip he's got that I think he's going to use. If they try and get out of the contract, he's going to say, oh, don't you want Legacy? I'll produce Legacy for you, but you have to give me another contract. So he's holding on to Legacy. He's getting as many shows as he can up, so he gets them made, because they either have to pay him for 5 years to keep making the show, or pay him out for 5 years for cancelling the show. So either way, he's going to get a 5-year payout. And if they extend his contract again, it doesn't all start over again, but he gets to keep dragging that out. But with Legacy, I think he's holding on to it to say, well, if you want Legacy, you have to, sign me up for another contract. That's why he's waiting and holding out on it. And they can take that either 1 or 2 ways. They can either give him an extension, get Legacy started, and then let Legacy run, and then let his contract run out because they don't want any of the other shows. They're happy for them to all end. Or they can just let it go. There may be another option, just to contract him just to do Legacy, because we only want Legacy, we don't want the rest of the contract. So you either have that or nothing. He may walk, or he may sign a contract just for one show. So there's a few ways it could go, and that's the way they're saying it is. And it's all very interesting. One of the things they did contradict was the 25% rule thing. Now, we all know that happened because we saw the posts from people in production talking about the 25% rule before they were told they weren't supposed to talk about it. Now, whether this was anything ever put in contract, or whether this is something they sort of made up to keep a distance between their IP and Kurtzman's IP, because it's funny, why they tried to refute this, why Sidetrack tried to refute this, they supported it at the same time, because what they said is the reason why Kurtzman can hold Legacy over Paramount's head is because they own the rights to any of the new elements that they've created for Star Trek. That's why he wants to stay in the 31st century with Starfleet Academy and Discovery, because that whole universe is his. He's created that whole universe. He's not sharing the original Star Trek universe, because even then some elements they had to pay out for, but the rest, they didn't, because they were making up new elements, or if they made it different enough, they could claim it was their own. So that's why they did the 25% rule. And that was something that did happen. And the fact that he's sort of supporting that, no, they can't go forward with Legacy because he owns all the new elements, just shows that there is a divide, because he's trying to say, no, it's all 100% owned by Paramount. If that was the case, then anything Kurtzman created they would own, that would revert back to them when the contract's up. But it doesn't. He said it's specifically his, and he can hold that over, and then once they end that contract, they can't make those shows once he's gone. So that's how he can hold Legacy over them. So obviously it shows the 25% rule, the split IP, whatever works. That's how it is set up, because otherwise he wouldn't have that power, and they wouldn't have that control. So it's all very interesting. They've got a few different options at the moment. They can let it run out and lose Legacy, or they can keep him for a little bit longer, get Legacy, and then let it run out. Or maybe, if they're lucky, they'll be able to negotiate just a contract for Legacy and still get out, because he's not going to get anything else out of them if they decide we're done with you. We'd rather let it run out, have power back, do it our own way, because whoever made these contracts, they were asleep at the wheel. They were just so concerned with having someone else pay for the production. They obviously weren't looking at everything they lost to do that, and all the complications that they're going to get out of that. And new people coming in looking at this are going, how the hell did this happen? And they want out. So it just depends on how they do it, and what the cost is. We may lose Legacy, but the next show we get will be better than anything Kurtzman did, in theory. assuming the next person doesn't have their own agenda and actually understands what Star Trek is and what the fans want, and actually they've got someone to actually look at the whole situation, look at the whole circumstance, look at the whole franchise, and really work out what fans want and the best way to go. We could get someone in who's worse than Kurtzman. It's just, ever since, Rick Berman went, it's just been the wild, wild west with Star Trek, and it's pretty scary as a fan. But nothing they can do can remove the old Star Trek. They can't, retroactively change canon or anything. They can create their own shows, their own universes, their own timelines. It doesn't matter, but it'd be nice to still have Star Trek being produced and to have Star Trek produced again, to see it again. But who knows? We'll see in a year, 2 years what happens. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Kurtzman's contracts and Sidetrack and all these sort of things. Bye.